The untold truth about America in the early 1900s, haunting secrets that will shock you now. In the murky shadows of America's past lies a chilling truth, a truth so haunting it'll send shivers down your spine. The early 1900s weren't just a time of industrial growth and prosperity, they were also the breeding ground for darker secrets. Can you imagine fog-wrapped streets echoing with whispers of the macabre? Ghostly figures flickering in the corners of your eye, as museums housed relics not meant for the light of day? It's no wonder that chills lingered long after the sun set. Something inexplicable was in the air back then. People spoke of disappearances that never made the papers. Children vanished from neighborhoods, leaving behind only the scent of burnt autumn leaves and muffled cries. Blood-curdling legends circulated about haunted factories and cursed items on display. One story spoke of a cursed doll said to trap the souls of children, with glassy eyes that seemed to follow your every move. On stormy nights, the howling wind carried their cries. Were they lost spirits? Or merely figments of anxious minds? But as jaws dropped, sweat dripping from tension-filled brows, another tale started to surface. Down in the dungeons of a grand old estate, unspeakable rituals were said to have taken place. What happened behind those stone walls, heavy with the weight of time, remained a mystery. The walls often whispered, if you dared to listen. Were they holding secrets, or hiding the ghosts of forsaken souls? Before we continue, I need to tell you something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to their system and many people are missing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and select all notifications so you don't miss future videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Tension surged as brave souls ventured close to those haunted grounds, desperate for the truth. Shadows danced unpredictably, and the air grew thinner, almost electric with dread. You could hear each breath, and feel bodies tense with anticipation. Every surface seemed to pulse, waiting, watching. What if the spirits were just waiting for someone to hear them? Perhaps to share their lost tales? Or to unleash their wrath on anyone who dared trespass? And just when you thought it couldn't get any stranger, locals claimed that some of those eerie artifacts had minds of their own. Objects that moved. A spectrometer from an old laboratory that throbbed ominously with green energy. As each hour ticked towards midnight, blood-stained whispers would call out from its depths. But who would believe such things? Would you? What secrets lay buried in the foundations of this thriving nation? As the deep night cloaked the world in mystery, one can't help but wonder what other horrifying truths still wait to be uncovered. The night was thick like a heavy blanket, shrouding everything in an unsettling calm. The moon hung low, filtering through clouds that raced across the sky, casting eerie shadows over the dilapidated estate. Muffled murmurs filled the air as a small group of locals gathered at the edge of the property, fueled by curiosity and a tingle of fear. Their hearts raced, ignited by tales of whispered horrors and spectral sightings. Among them was Clara, a young woman with wild curls and an adventurous spirit. She had heard the chilling legends since childhood, stories of the cursed doll, the spectrometer, and the ghostly children. Tonight, she decided to seek the truth, feeling an inexplicable pull toward the estate as though its history called out specifically to her. As she stepped over the threshold of the estate, the door creaked with a lamenting groan, echoing through the emptiness. The air inside was stagnant and heavy, thick with dust that had settled for ages. Her heart thudded against her ribcage as a shiver ran down her spine. Shadows clung to the corners, whispering secrets in a language she felt she should understand. Were they warning her to leave, or drawing her in further? She couldn't tell. The old wooden floors creaked under her weight, sending echoes into the darkness. With each cautious step deeper into the halls, Clara felt as if she was awakening something dormant, a force that had long been forgotten. Her breath quickened as she reached the grand staircase, its railings laced with intricate carvings that seemed to morph in the flickering candlelight. A sudden crash broke the silence. Clara jumped, her instincts screaming for her to flee. But curiosity held her rooted. She ventured toward the sound, her palms sweaty against the cool surface of the banister. In the dim light, she glimpsed something glimmering under a dusty sheet in the corner of the room. With hesitation, she pulled the covering away, revealing a doll. Its porcelain skin was cracked, eyes wide and unnaturally bright, an unnerving gaze that seemed to pierce into her very soul. She felt a presence almost tangible, a pulse of energy that emanated from the doll, sending her heart racing. "Clara, help us," came a whisper, so soft she wondered if she had imagined it. But it lingered in the air, wrapping around her like a dreadful hug. The doll's glassy eyes seemed to flicker in recognition, holding unspoken stories of vanished children. Who are you?" Clara asked, her voice barely above a whisper, trembling as she took a step backward. "We are trapped in the dark," the voice replied, a sound filled with pain and longing. Fear coursed through Clara, yet she couldn't turn away. The legend had come alive. The walls rattled, and shadows slithered closer, feeding off the tension that permeated the air. Suddenly, with a profoundly unsettling crack, the floorboards beneath her groaned and shifted, shifting her sense of reality. Just then, a figure appeared at the top of the staircase, a silhouette draped in darkness, watching intently. Clara's breath caught in her throat, panic engulfing her as she realized that whatever she experienced was just the beginning. What had she awakened? Was it the lost souls of the children, or something far more sinister? "Clara," the figure called out, echoing in the hollow stillness. The voice was familiar. But as her mind raced, she couldn't place it. Before she could find her words or reclaim her heart's steady beat, the figure took a step forward, and the darkness expanded, pulling her into the depths of the unknown. What fate awaited her? The moment had come, and she was trapped between choice and horror as the forgotten mysteries stirred once again. Clara's pulse thundered in her ears as she stared, frozen, at the figure at the top of the stairs. Every logical thought swirled into oblivion. It was almost as if time stretched, the shadows around her thickening like smoke, the air growing heavy with dread and anticipation. "Clara!" Again, the voice called, breaking her trance. It was undeniable now, it was James, her childhood friend. But how could he be here? Last she knew, he had left town years ago, pursuing some distant dream in the city. The expression on his face was a mix of urgency and fear, pulling at something deep within her. Why did he look so ghostly? Why was he cloaked in shadow? James? Clara finally managed, the name tumbling out like a pebble in an open canyon, the echo a stark reminder of their history. "What are you doing here?" I came to find you," he said, his voice echoing eerily off the walls, a tone swallowed by the estate's weight. "You shouldn't have come here, Clara. You don't understand what's at stake." The weight of his words sank in. The whispers grew louder, rising around her like a tempest. "What do you mean?" she asked, a tremor of confusion underlying her voice. "What's at stake?" He stepped into the dim light, revealing features etched by worry and sorrow. The doll remained perched on the table behind her, its cracked face holding onto an insipid smile, a constant watcher, perhaps even an instigator. "They're watching, Clara," he spoke, his voice low, urgent. "The souls, they want to use you. You're the link. You can free them or be consumed by them." A shiver coursed up her spine. The doll, the whispering, the shadows creeping ever closer, was it all connected? But how? What do I have to do? James winced, stepping closer. "You must find the door," he said, glancing nervously at the corners of the room as if expecting spirits to materialize any moment. "The door hidden behind the mirror. Only then will you understand why this place holds them captive." The walls seemed to pulse at the mention of the door. Clara felt drawn towards the mirror at the far end of the room, its surface cloudy and warped. A loud banging echoed through the halls, shaking the very foundation of the estate. Clara stumbled a step back, her breath quickening. "Clara!" James shouted, desperation surging in his voice. You have to trust me. We don't have much time. Without thinking, she dashed toward the mirror, the doll's eye watching her every movement, the intensity of her heart pounding in sync with the building chaos around her. It was like walking into the eye of a storm, where calmness masked an imminent explosion. James followed closely, urging her on as shadows curled around them, whispering and beckoning. Hurry! Clara reached the mirror, despair creeping in. Was there truly a door hidden behind it? She pressed her palm against the glass, feeling a cold rush, as if the mirror were alive and discerning her touch. Suddenly, the mirror rippled, revealing an image beyond the reflective surface. It was a scene of anguish, a group of children, their faces sorrowful, their eyes pleading. They reached out, ghostly hands brushing against the glass, blurring reality further. What now? Clara gasped, feeling an overwhelming sense of urgency and dread. Touch the mirror. James shouted, his voice shaking with fear. You have to break through. Holding her breath, Clara followed his command. She let her fingers slip through the glass as if it were water. An icy blast surged through her body as she felt a tug, pulling her into the mirror's depths, a realm blending nightmare and reality. She gasped for breath, darkness closing in, the echoes of the anguished children louder than ever. Before she knew it, she was inside, surrounded by spectral forms, their faces twisting from joy to terror. Clara's heart sank. She was trapped in this world just like them. She looked back at James, who was now just a faint silhouette. What did I get myself into? A hollow laughter echoed through the air, chilling her to the bone. You have chosen, Clara, a voice hissed from where no one was found. Now you shall be one with us. Forever. As the shadows twisted higher, Clara realized she hadn't just walked into the history of the estate, she had stumbled into its very heart, the place where trapped souls longed for release. Would she find a way to escape, or was this her final destination? In the depths of her worry, one question resonated louder than the rest: could she confront the darkness before it consumed her? The answer awaited her as the shadows closed in, wrapping around her like a shroud. The world blurred around Clara as the shadows tightened, swirling like a tempest of despair. She felt cold fingers graze her skin, ghostly whispers intertwining with her thoughts, pulling her deeper into a reality where the laws of nature seemed to falter. Panic surged through her veins, fueling her instincts to fight against the darkness that threatened to engulf her entirely. Help us! Came the cries of the children, their forms flickering and fading like candle flames in a storm. Their eyes were hollow, reflecting the pain of an existence trapped within this cursed realm. Clara's heart raced as they reached out towards her, imploring her to join their ranks, to give in to the pull of the shadows. No! Clara shouted, her voice stronger than she felt. She willed herself to be stronger, to fight the crushing sadness threatening to drown her. What do you want from me? The laughter echoed again, dark and cruel, reverberating off invisible walls. You are one of us now, Clara. Your light binds us, your fear feeds us. Embrace it. She squeezed her eyes shut, desperately battling against the onslaught. Images flashed in her mind: her childhood with James, the laughter they shared, the dreams of escaping this sleepy town. Memories faded into the specters surrounding her, each one draining her like a life-force siphon. Then, she remembered the mirror. James had spoken of the door hidden behind it. A terrifying spark of hope ignited within her. If only she could reach the key to their freedom, a way to break this cycle of torment. Where is the door? She demanded, her voice rising above the cries and laughter. Show me. Suddenly, the air shifted, clearing for a moment, and the laughter turned to a cacophony of whispers. You must face your fear, Clara. Only then can the way be revealed. So much fear coursed through her, like liquid ice. But she couldn't allow it to control her. With a surge of determination, Clara strained against the oppressive presence surrounding her, stepping toward the figures of the children. I will not be complacent. I will not let you take me. For a moment, the specters faltered, their faces twisting in confusion and frustration. Clara's heart raced as she felt the shadows falter, almost recoiling at her defiance. The flickering light within her pushed back, illuminating the gloom, revealing the contours of a door etched into the ground beneath her feet. Over there. A soft voice whispered from the left, a boy with tear-streaked cheeks, his form flickering like a flame. The door. It's real. Clara turned and saw an outline of a door emerging from beneath a veil of shadows, shimmering with an ethereal glow. It pulsated with life, a stark contrast to the cold that enveloped her. With fear still gnawing at her but hope igniting a fire within, Clara ran towards it. Come back. The shadows roared, their voices rising in furious unison. You cannot escape. The door loomed closer, each step feeling both exhilarating and terrifying. Just as she reached out to grasp the handle, she felt something tugging at her, pulling her back, a vice of despair wrapped around her waist. Don't leave us, came the haunting plea of the children. You promised. Clara hesitated, torn between the spectral figures reaching out for her and the sanctuary of the door. She could sense their desperation, their longing to break free from this abyss. But how? Could she really save them? With trembling hands, Clara grasped the handle, feeling an electric jolt coursing through her. I will find a way, she shouted defiantly, half in hope, half in fear. I promise. The shadows screeched, a cacophony of rage blending with agony enveloping her ears just as she wrenched the door open. Light spilled into the darkness, engulfing her, a warmth that felt alien but inviting. What will you choose, Clara? The voice whispered now, soft as silk, yet heavy with menace. Stay with us, or walk through the light. With one final look back at the pleading faces, Clara stepped into the light, ready to confront whatever lay ahead. As the door shut behind her, the echoes of the children's cries faded, but the memory of their lost desperation lingered in her heart. Clara stumbled into a new world, vibrant yet unfamiliar, and knew that her fight wasn't over. Now she had to uncover the truth of the curse that held them and, in doing so, perhaps find redemption not only for herself but for all the lost souls intertwined in this haunting tale. What awaited her in this new realm? And would she have the strength to confront the shadows again? Clara gasped as she emerged into the new realm, blinking against the startling brightness that enveloped her. The air felt alive, humming with an energy she hadn't known since escaping the shadows. But as her eyes adjusted, the vivid colors painted a scene that left her breathless, not with wonder, but dread. The landscape stretched endlessly beneath a crimson sky. Ruins of a town, half buried in the dirt, stood like silent sentinels. Broken wagons lay tangled in thorns, and the remnants of structures sagged under the weight of their own despair. The echoes of bygone laughter lingered as whispers in the wind, weaving into the fabric of the desperate surroundings. Where am I? She murmured, her voice trembling, the weight of uncertainty tightening her chest. You're in the forgotten, came a smooth voice that set Clara's skin crawling. She turned to find a shadowy figure leaning against a twisted tree, shrouded in a cloak of twilight. The person's face was obscured, but Clara felt their stare bore into her, chilling her blood. Who are you? Clara demanded, instinctively taking a step back. I guide the lost, the figure replied, twisting their hands, revealing long, bony fingers. Much like you. You've wandered far from home, haven't you? I'm not lost. Clara's defiance flared, much like in the shadow realm. I'm here to help the children. The figure chuckled, a sound akin to dry leaves rustling in the wind. You foolish girl. This place is a graveyard of hope. Those spirits you cherish were ripped from their light and trapped here, as you will be if you're not careful. What do you mean? Clara's heart raced as she took another step back, fear clawing at her and sapping her resolve. The curse that binds you is deeper than you think. Each choice echoes through the shadows. One step deeper can lead to your doom, the figure warned, their voice hypnotic. What will you sacrifice to save those children? Do you have the strength to face your own darkness? Clara clenched her fists, willing herself to stand firm. I won't abandon them. There has to be a way. There is always a way. The figure's grin flickered at the edges of their mouth. But each choice carries a price. The tawdry wind howled, lifting scattered debris around her like a storm. Clara turned, eyes darting, searching for familiar signs of the children. Their faces haunted her thoughts, like ghostly stares urging her to act. Show me the way. I refuse to give in to despair. Despair is only a whisper away, Clara, the figure sang, eyes glinting with something darker. Look closely and you might see. With trembling hands, Clara took a step toward the remnants of the town. Ruins began to call her, revealing faint glimmers of light struggling to pierce through the shadows. She could almost swear she saw a faint flicker of childhood laughter, a melody just out of reach. Suddenly, a vision consumed her, flashes of the children in the shadow realm, frantically grasping for her as the darkness clawed at them. Their eyes, wide with fear, echoed hollow desperation within her. Clara's breath hitched. The specters. She could sense their presence creeping up around her like smoke, clawing at her heart. No! She shrieked, turning back to the figure, her voice rising. Help me! I need to find a way back. A sinister smile spread across the figure's lips, revealing more than just teeth. Wisps of shadow danced around them, twisting and writhing like snakes. Ah! But your heart still holds the key. What do you mean? Clara felt cold dread wash over her. Before she could comprehend, the figure lunged forward, grabbing her wrist. A jolt of cold surged through her, and she was plunged back into a cacophony of memories, her own fears and failures unraveling like a frayed rope. The children need you, Clara. But what if you can't save them? With a gasp, she pulled away. The weight of the truth settled heavy in her chest. The answers she sought were buried in her depths, as tangled as the ruins that surrounded her. I will confront my fears, Clara declared, her voice steadier now, emboldened by her resolve. I won't abandon them. I will find redemption or die trying. The shadows hissed in response, swirling ominously about her. But what awaited her deep within the darkness of her own making? Would confronting her deepest fears lead her back to the lost children or only deepen her descent into despair? Clara took a moment to steel herself, knowing the battle was just beginning. Unbeknownst to her, the true horror of her journey was only about to unfold. Clara's pulse quickened. The figure's grip lingered in her mind, a chill that seeped into her bones. She turned toward the ruins, determination igniting her spirit. Each step forward felt like a challenge against the very fabric of this ghostly realm. Shadows danced around the edges of her vision, echoing the memories that tugged at her subconscious. A brittle whisper licked her ear. Turn back. Clara shook her head, refusing to let the dread take hold. Ahead, a flicker of light caught her eye. It pulsed like the heartbeat of a child's laughter, drawing her deeper into the decay of this forgotten place. She could feel the warmth from the light, pulling her like a lifeline through the suffocating silence. Just a bit closer, she whispered to herself, a mantra against the despair that threatened to spiral around her. But as she approached, the light splintered, fracturing her heart into myriad pieces. Images flickered in the golden glow, the children, their faces painted with tears, calling out for her, their voices mingling with the rustle of the wind. Clara, one voice broke her resolve, soft and familiar. It was Lily, the youngest of the group. Those innocent eyes, once full of joy, now shimmered with fear. Help us know. I'm here. Clara shouted into the air, her voice lost among the haunting echoes of ghosts. I'm coming. But as the shadows thickened, memories that bubbled to the surface were intertwined with her own failures, the times she'd let fear conquer her. A knot tightened in her chest as the guilt clawed at her mind, wrapping around her like chains. She had sworn never to let fear rule her again, and yet here she was, a prisoner to it. Face your demons, the shadowy figure's voice rang in her mind, taunting her. Clara stopped. No. Not again. She took a slow, deep breath. Steeling herself, she waded further into the brightening remnants, pushing against the darkness tugging at her sleeve. Each step felt electric, igniting a determination that surged through her veins. Suddenly, a cold blast ripped through the air, the laughter fading into a wail. Clara spun around, her heart racing as a wave of shadows cascaded toward her. They writhed and coiled like living creatures, desperate to reclaim what they had lost. An anguished scream pierced her ears, and she felt the darkness closing in, suffocating her resolve. Don't abandon them. The words echoed within her, but fear clawed up her throat. She could almost hear the children's cries against the backdrop of her own fears. You can save them, Clara. You just have to confront what's inside. Summoning every ounce of strength, Clara shouted, I refuse to let fear win. The world around her shuddered, cracks trembled in the ground beneath her feet. The shadows pooled forward, closing in, but a sliver of that same light shimmered just ahead, beckoning her to keep going. Clara propelled herself toward it, but the footsteps of the shadows slithered closely behind, their whispers turning into snarls of anger. Turn back. They screamed, the faces of the children twisting into grotesque forms, their eyes dark and despairing. Taking a risk, Clara reached into her heart, confronting the sorrow she had buried. Images of her past flooded her mind, moments she had hidden even from herself, wrapped in shame. I will not be defined by my fears. She roared, her voice rising above the cacophony of wailing shadows. With a deep breath, she dove into the heart of the light, a fortress of hope amidst the despair. What awaited her on the other side? Would she find the children, or would that light consume her too? Suddenly, a scream erupted from the depths of the shadows, shaking the ground around her. Clara could feel something shifting within the realm, something more than mere whispers, something darker, watching her closely. And as the light flickered in her grasp, she braced herself, knowing that the real battle was just beginning, with unimaginable truths waiting to be revealed. Could she rescue the children in time, or would the shadows drag her under, leaving nothing but silence in their wake? The light enveloped Clara, cocooning her in a warm embrace. She felt a comforting sensation wash over her, but somewhere deep inside, a nagging doubt clawed at her mind. She was no longer in the decaying ruins but inside a shimmering void, floating between dimensions. The shadows that chased her were now distant echoes, mere figures lurking at the periphery of her vision. Glimmers of memories surfaced, soft and alluring. Voices sang out, warm and familiar. She could almost feel her mother's laughter, the way it once filled their home. But as the sweet melody permeated her senses, it morphed into the cries of the children. Clara clenched her jaw, forcing the innocence to drown in the urgency of the present. She was somewhere between salvation and despair. Clara. A voice broke through the haze, sharp and urgent. It was Lily again, her voice tightening Clara's chest like a vice. You have to find us. Please. Where are you? Clara shouted, her voice shaky but resolute. I'm here. I'm coming. Suddenly, the light around her flickered wildly, the comforting warmth turning colder by the second. Then, it dimmed, revealing fragments caught in its glow, images of the children scattered like grains of sand in a storm. Each face twisted in fear, reaching out with desperate hands. Bursts of panic flared up in Clara's chest. For every child she saw, she felt another piece of herself splintering away. The magnitude of her past failures loomed large. Memories unfolded in vivid detail, moments where she had been the protector but became the betrayer. Stay with me. She cried, though her voice seemed lost to the void, swallowed by an insatiable darkness. In that moment, Clara remembered the last time she had seen them, leaving her heart heavy with regret. They had trusted her, and now they were trapped in this realm with her, bound by a darkness they could not understand. The weight of responsibility pressed against her ribcage, a reminder of what had come before. The shadows swirled, like a storm ready to unleash its fury. You cannot escape. They sneered, a chorus of despair resonating in her ears. You cannot lose what you never had. Clara shook her head, the grip of fear almost paralyzing. No. She took a step forward, defiance coursing through her veins. It's not true. I'm not leaving you. With a primal scream, she charged deeper into the heart of the light, each step against the pull of the darkness heavy and strained. For a brief moment, she felt the shadows falter, their whispers dimming, overshadowed by the flickering brilliance around her. But the relief was fleeting. Clara stumbled as the ground shifted beneath her feet, a trapdoor opening into a chasm of despair. She plunged into the darkness below, the icy tendrils of fear wrapping around her heart like a vice. Breathing heavily, she readied herself for what awaited below, the unknown festering reality of her buried guilt. As she fell, Clara could almost hear the remnants of laughter, fading into cacophony. A cold realization crept over her. She was not merely confronting the shadows but every moment of hesitation that had left scars on her soul. With a jolt, she landed on her feet, surrounded by a darkness thicker than before. The ground trembled under her weight, and she took an unstable step forward, the air suffused with tension. Clara, the voice wasn't Lily's but something more sinister, echoing through the shadows, a chilling reminder of her own buried secrets. Have you truly come to save them? Or is it your own soul you seek to reclaim? The dread clawed at her insides. She steeled her resolve, gripping the flickering light tightly. Clara knew she wouldn't just be facing the shadows of the children but the undeniable truth she had avoided all along. With every ounce of strength, she pushed forward, ready to uncover the betrayals buried deep within. What lies hidden in this new darkness? Would she have the courage to confront it? Clara took one more deep breath, summoning every bit of hope left within, knowing that the answers loomed ahead, and they would change everything. Clara stood at the edge of the abyss, shadows swirling like phantom serpents around her. The air hung heavy, suffocating almost, as if the darkness itself conspired to hold her back. She had journeyed through this realm willingly, driven by the desperate need to save the children. Yet, lingering remnants of her past loomed like specters, their fingers coiling around her heart. Face it, the sinister voice echoed again, seductive in its malice. What do you truly desire? To cling to your guilt? Or to seal your fate? Her pulse raced. The ground shifted beneath her feet, rippling like water disturbed by a stone. Clara reached down instinctively, her fingers brushing against the cool earth, grounding herself. This was more than a physical space, it was an emotional prison, wrapped in regret and longing. The flickering light in her hand shimmered, casting a glow that cut through the suffocating darkness. Around her, shadows writhed, pulling desperately at the edges of her consciousness. They whispered secrets she feared to hear. Are you afraid? They mocked softly, their words slithering into her ears like silk threads. Afraid of losing the comfort of your failures? Or knowing the true cost of your inaction? Images surged before her, faces of the children she had failed to protect. They appeared like flashes of lightning in a stormy sky, bright and painful. Their expressions twisted into anguish, pleading with her. Clara grit her teeth, pushing the rising tide of despair deep down. She wouldn't let it drown her. I will find you, she affirmed, her voice steady, even as the shadows flickered dangerously. I will not abandon you again. The darkness roared, a living thing enraged by her defiance, surging around her like a tempest. Sudden coldness swept over her, paralyzing her thoughts and terrifying her senses. But within that frigid grasp, a fire ignited in her chest. The flickering light surged, illuminating her surroundings. Shadows shrank back as if burnt by the glow, whispering words of frustration. Hope such a fragile thing, the voice taunted. You think it will save you? You'll only find more misery. Every ounce of Clara's focus tightened as she pressed on. She took a step forward, then another, feeling the warmth of her light pushing against the chill. A sudden rippling sensation coursed through the ground. What is this place? She whispered, or perhaps it was a prayer, as she felt the fabric of the ancient realm shift beneath her. Without warning, the ground shattered like glass. Clara tumbled into a cavern, landing on rough stone that felt both foreign and familiar. She winced, the pain grounding her amidst the chaos, but the shadows slithered back, a growing menace now looming over her. "Welcome to the heart of your despair," a new voice whispered, thick with dark promise. It resonated from the cavern's depth, chilling her to the bone. "Here, all will be revealed." Clara's heart thudded against her ribs. She swallowed hard, fighting the urge to retreat. What awaited her in these depths? Each breath came in shaky gasps as anxiety clawed at her throat. Yet, there was no turning back. The children needed her, and whatever truth lay ahead, she owed them this confrontation, this reckoning. She steeled herself, a flicker of resolve igniting inside. "Show me," she dared to demand, her voice cutting through the tension in the air. "I'm ready." The shadows laughed, a haunting echo that reverberated through the darkness. "Ready? You think you're ready? But can you handle the truth?" As the words faded into an eerie silence, Clara took a step further into the void. What awaited her would shake the very foundations of her beliefs. The unknown loomed large, terrifying and enticing all at once, and as she ventured deeper into the disquieting shadows, she felt it something lurking just beyond her reach, and revelation waiting to unravel her very existence. What was this truth hiding in the darkness? And would it shatter her into pieces, or could it be the key to saving them all? Each heartbeat echoed her uncertainty as she pressed on, caught between fate and free will, prepared to face the darkest parts of herself. The echoes of Clara's footsteps bounced off the cavern walls, an eerie melody of dread. With every step deeper into the darkness, the air thickened, heavy with unspoken secrets. She felt the pulse of her heart, each beat a drum of courage echoing in the silence. Then, from within the shadows, shapes began to materialize. They danced in her peripheral vision, twisting into haunting forms that felt both familiar and foreign. Each flicker sent a chill down her spine, yet she pressed on, fighting the urge to look away. "What do you want from me?" she shouted, desperation clawing at her throat. "Only the truth," the voice replied, smooth yet sharp, like a knife cutting through her resolve. "The truth that lies buried beneath your guilt." Suddenly, the shadows pooled together, coalescing into a striking image: faces, those of the children she had failed. Their eyes glowed with pain and sorrow, reaching out to her. Clara stumbled back, feeling her breath hitch. "No. Are you ready to face what you've ignored?" The voice taunted, now dripping with mockery. Memories flooded her mind, unearthing forgotten moments. Laughter turned to screams. Joy morphed into despair. Each child's face blurred together as guilt tugged at her heart like a vice. "No!" she shouted into the abyss. "I did my best." The shadows hissed, swirling threateningly. "Did you? Or did you turn away when it got hard? Did you sacrifice them to save your own soul?" The voice was contemptuous, weaving through the very fabric of her being. Clara shook her head, desperation rising within her. "I couldn't, I was scared." "Fear is the illusion," the voice hissed back. "What is real is your choice to run. To abandon. What tragedy could have been avoided had you acted instead?" Her knees buckled as memories crashed against her like a tidal wave. She saw the children, lost in the chaos, their laughter echoing in the shadows. They were gone, taken by darkness, and the realization crushed her. Inaction had been her sin, her failure. "I can't change the past," she whispered, feeling tears prick at her eyes. "No," the shadows whispered, rising around her like smoke. "But you can choose to embrace the truth, or let it consume you." Something within her snapped. Clara straightened, a spark igniting deep in her chest. "I won't back down. Whatever it is, I will face it." The cavern trembled as if shaking in response to her defiance. With renewed fervor, Clara stepped forward, plunging into the malevolence that clawed at her. "I will find a way to save them, to save myself." The shadows screamed, a cacophony of rage that echoed forever. They surged towards her, a living tide desperate to drag her back into despair. But Clara lifted her light high, determined to push against the encroaching darkness. As the blinding glow spread through the cavern, illuminating the path forward, she caught a glimpse of something shimmering. Nestled within the shadows was an ancient artifact, pulsing with an otherworldly resonance. Clara felt a magnetic pull, drawing her closer. "What is that?" she breathed, reaching for the object as curiosity surged. Suddenly, she lost her footing, and the cavern floor shook violently beneath her. Clara clutched at the walls as rocks rained down around her. The shadows roared, and the darkness pressed in, murderous and implacable. As she grasped the artifact, the shadows recoiled, hissing as the glow pushed them back. Whatever power it held, Clara could feel it coursing through her veins, bioenergy igniting hope, but in that moment of revelation, the shadows whispered one last chilling truth. "You may grasp power, Clara, but know this, the truth you unearth will bring repercussions you cannot imagine." What lay ahead was uncertain, and Clara's heart raced. Could she navigate the consequences of her choices? Or was she racing toward a fate more horrific than she could ever conceive? She tightened her grip, a mix of dread and determination swirling within her as she took the next step deeper into the unknown. The path stretched before her, dark and twisted, yet charged with possibility. Would this ancient truth propel her toward salvation or lead her into further darkness? Clara's fingers trembled as they caressed the artifact. It was a talisman, cold and ancient, exuding a pulsing energy that reverberated through her core. The moment she grasped it, light burst forth, filling the cave with an iridescent glow that pushed back the darkness. The shadows recoiled, their wicked whispers turning into howls of anguish. Clara could feel their fear amplifying with every pulse of the talisman. Something deep within her surged a sense of authority, a feeling of being both protector and warrior. She saw visions of the children flickering in the glow, their faces shimmering with hope, urging her on. "Clara!" Lily's voice broke through the chaos, stronger and clearer than before. "We're here." A wave of determination washed over her. "I'm coming!" she shouted into the shadows, her voice resonating with new strength. She lifted the talisman higher. "Show me the way." With a sudden movement, Clara dashed further into the cavern, vibrant light pooling around her. As she advanced, images shifted in front of her like a whirlwind. It was the children, huddled together, arms outstretched in desperate trust. Clara could feel their longing, their pain radiating like heat from the sun. "Keep moving," she urged herself, the ground trembling beneath her feet. "You can do this." Clara pressed forward, guided by the flickering glow of the talisman combining with the swirling light of her untamed courage. Then, the shadows surged, grasping at her ankles like desperate hands. "You can't save them," they cried out, voices twisting. "You will fail." "No!" Clara shouted defiantly, refusing to let the despair drown her out. "I will not give up on them." The shadows cringed at her conviction, but the darkness lurked, weaving through her mind, dredging up her fears, the moments she had lost faith, the times she hesitated when she should have acted. But Clara fought back, calling upon her own memories of laughter, of friendship, of warmth. The floor beneath her trembled violently, but Clara kept her balance, bolstered by the light. "I'm not afraid of you," she screamed defiantly. "I will confront the truth, whatever it takes. I know my heart." Surrounded by shimmers of light, Clara stumbled into an expansive chamber, illuminated by an ethereal glow. The faces of the children emerged from the shadows ahead, their expressions curious yet cautious. Clara's heart raced as she approached, the talisman pulsing in time with her heartbeat. "Clara!" Lily's voice rang out once more, echoing through the chamber. "You found us." Clara dropped to her knees, the weight of emotion crashing over her. "I didn't know if I could," she breathed, tears welling in her eyes. "I'm so sorry." Lily stepped forward, her spirit gentle yet strong. "Your light guides us. We've waited for your courage, Clara." Together, the children reached out. Clara took their hands, and she felt a surge of warmth. The shadows still loomed, but in that moment, together they stood against the wicked darkness. With the talisman held high, Clara spoke with conviction. We are more than the fear that binds us. We'll break the curse. As her voice echoed through the chamber, the shadows writhed and shrieked, swirling around them in a chaotic tempest fearful of their united light. Clara felt the boundaries of her resolve expand. She was truly no longer alone. Feel the strength of your shared memories. Clara commanded. Remember the good, remember the joy. Together we are unstoppable. The children nodded, their spirits igniting in radiant energy, drawing on her strength with each passing second. Clara felt their warmth wash over her. It felt like sunlight breaking through endless clouds after a storm. With a powerful thrust, Clara brought the talisman down, light spilling endlessly from it like an unfurling phoenix. As the light collided with the shadows, a resounding explosion erupted, sending tremors through the very foundation of the cavern. The shadows howled, twisted, and vanished, absorbed into the blinding brightness. Clara squeezed the children's hands tighter, feeling their spirits lift, buoyed by joy rather than sorrow. All around them, the remnants of the lost souls began to fade, releasing them from the chains that bound them. I can't believe we're free, Lily gasped, her eyes shining with newfound hope. Clara smiled through her tears. Together, we did it. You're safe now. In that moment, Clara's heart swelled with feelings of redemption. She hadn't dared to imagine. She had embraced her fears and confronted them with love and courage. As the light enveloped the chamber, Clara and the children were lifted, soaring through the light, blooming into their own truths of liberation. She glanced back at the remaining shadows and whispered a final goodbye, feeling gratitude mingling with the finality of their dark grasp over her life. When the glow faded and reality settled around them, Clara found herself back in the old estate, breathing in the fresh air, joy radiating from her heart. The others who once lurked in darkness were now spirits restored, free to dance under the moonlight serene with their stories finally told. Clara looked around and knew she'd keep their memories alive, for they were woven into her very being. She realized the journey hadn't just unsealed the truth of darkness, it had illuminated the light that resided within her all along. Goodbye, my friends, Clara murmured, knowing they would always be a part of her. As dawn broke, colors filled the horizon. Clara stepped forward, ready to share the truth she had uncovered, her heart dedicated to being their voice. It was time to begin anew, and she felt ready. And now you, dear listener, we've reached the end of Clara's journey. You felt the pulse of fear, the warmth of hope, and the strength of courage. But the stories don't end here. You need to subscribe now. Don't wait even one more second to hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss the next exclusive tales that will send shivers down your spine. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm and let us keep those haunting secrets alive. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories. We want to hear what you think, your feelings, and the truths you found within this tale, and you absolutely have to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to feel the rush of these stories. Let us keep the flame of curiosity burning bright and together explore what lies beyond.